Hey, what am I thinking right now?
Why are they doing this?
Now you need to handle this. It's not going to stop.
Hello, world! I'm Chris, aka Mr. FLIXTER.
It's you! It's you!
This episode is the follow-up to my worst horror movies of 2025, Dishonourable Mentions.
Wow, you did it. I can always spot talent.
And now, I proudly present what I think are the top 5 worst horror movies of 2025.
I have to go pull the heads off some very bad people.
Welcome to my channel. Thank you for clicking on my video. You didn't have to do that, but I appreciate that you did.
He said he was on the verge of a discovery so terrific that he doubted his own sanity. There was a strange look in his eyes, some mystery.
We all go a little mad sometimes.
But the prime time, bitch.
I am Chucky, the killer doll, and I dig it!
You like scary movies?
Uh-huh.
What's your favorite scary movie?
I want to play a game.
Hello, world! I'm Chris aka Mr. FLIXTER. Here to talk motion pictures.
Mr. FLIXTER.
I know. I'm really late to the party on this one.
What are you waiting for, huh? What are you waiting for?
Jeez, Julie James. Better late than never, right? The show must go on. Hello, world. It's now a film critic extraordinaire. Well. This is Ursula. Hey, Ursula. How on earth are we supposed to pick which movies waste? That is the question, baby kitty. That is the question indeed. For what is worse? I am confused. If it is the worst movie film, how is it the top 5? The worst is on the bottom. All I know is these horror villains can kiss my bottom. Yeah. So, the movies I talked about before were pretty bad, but believe it or not, these ones are even worse.
I need to start drinking.
Do you agree with my picks? What do you think was the worst horror movie of 2025, and why? Leave comments below and we can talk about it.
Can any of you hear me?
And yes, to really get into these movies, I gotta talk about spoilers. You've been warned.
My finger is on the button.
Push the button.
So, let's begin, shall we? At number 5. Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Abby runs away, uncovering dark secrets about the true origins of the animatronics at Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria. Hidden for decades after the supernatural nightmare she encountered. Is the highly anticipated sequel a well-oiled machine? Or a mechanical mess?
Just stop the things. Stop it.
All right, I got it.
Okay, look, I got this rubber.
All right, I'm supposed to.
All right, I'm good. Honey. No, all right, I got it.
Before I get into this movie, if you're interested, I did review the first movie. It's on my channel. It's available if you want to watch it.
What I want is to see what's going on inside of your head.
Directed by Emma Tammy. I love the 8-bit opening credits sequence, accompanied by the score by the Newton Brothers. It's a great way to capture the idea of what Five Nights at Freddy's is all about. The opening scene is going to make or break the movie for most people, in my opinion. You may enjoy the film if you can buy into the ridiculousness, but if not, I feel your pain.
Will anybody help me? There's a little boy who needs help. Please help me. Sorry, adults are talking. Run along.
I'll start off with some good things, because there are a couple things I liked. The set designs, for example, are extraordinary. I love the look of the pizzerias, both in the past and present day. The best part is when they actually depict the gameplay from the second game. The security room is nearly identical. The gameplay mechanics included are the flashlight, checking the cameras, and using the Freddy mask, except it doesn't work on Foxy. It's an intensely suspenseful scene that made me wish more of the movie was like that. Most of the games have more than 5 nights, so they could have expanded on that too. But they don't, sadly. Jim Henson's Creature Shop provided the animatronics once again. I appreciate how many more are presented, and how accurate they are to the source material. Mangle and the Marionette are the highlights. Look at those character designs. That's nightmare fuel. And just like the first movie, this movie could have been jam-packed with jump scares, because the game franchise was built around this. Yes, there are more jump scares than part 1, but they're mostly fake-outs. That's disappointing.
It's not rocket science.
It was written by Scott Cawthon, the game's creator. I appreciate the references to the games in the script, but if you think about the story, none of this makes sense. Cawthon may have created the games, but he is not a screenwriter, clearly. He fails to grasp the fundamentals of story structure, narrative flow, and crafting effective dialogue. People aren't this dumb in real life. For example, a major plot point is Fazfest. But if you think about it, the idea of having a convention centered around a pizzeria after the tragedy that occurred in the opening seems in poor taste. Why would anybody in this world go along with this? The stab movies work so well in the Scream movies. because it's a mirror reflection of the Scream franchise and horror fandom as a whole. It doesn't really make sense to have FazFest in this context the way it's presented. Also, Abby misses the animatronics from part 1, calling them her friends, despite them trying to kill her. Why? Imagine if Andy was yearning for Chucky in Child's Play Part 2. It doesn't make sense.
Surprise! Did you miss me, Andy? I sure missed you.
There's no closure for Garrett either. He's briefly mentioned a few times, but that's it. I guess he doesn't matter anymore. Also, Abby and Mike appear completely unaware of the original Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria location, even though it's just a short bike ride away from their home. This is confusing, especially since the film cuts back and forth between both locations, implying that they're both in very close proximity to each other and their house. What gives? Also, Charlotte is shown being kept asleep by this music box. But according to the timeline, that music box would have to have played continuously for like 20 years, which isn't realistically possible. And who's been winding up this toy the whole time? Most of the acting is either wooden or over the top. There's no middle ground here. It doesn't help that there's no main character. There's too many subplots to focus on one person. We have Abby missing her friends, Mike and Vanessa's will they won't they love story, the science fair subplot, Vanessa dealing with daddy issues, and the marionette subplot. Nobody stands out because of the uneven script, and most of the subplots are inconsequential with no real resolution.
Well, isn't that cute? But it's wrong!
Josh Hutcherson is Mike.
Mike? Yeah. Thanks for seeing me.
He's written as such a bland, blank slate character that his performance transcends the writing. Most of the time he looks distracted and bored, speaking with little to no energy or agency. It comes across that way because he's more robotic than the actual animatronics are.
Vanessa, I've been trying really hard to move forward.
I know, but
No, listen. How can I move forward when it's one thing after another?
Elizabeth Lale returns as Vanessa.
So this is what it's like?
What?
Being normal. I think we're doing pretty good, considering what we've been through.
She's the opposite. She's so overblown, she more than compensates for Hutchins' non-performance.
Michael, they haven't done anything wrong. You can't do this. This isn't a game. You can have a normal life. We could have a normal life.
Piper Rubio returns as Abby.
Maybe I could go see my friends?
You mean like your friends from school?
I meant Chica and the others. Those friends.
Perhaps it was the way she was directed, so maybe the blame isn't entirely on her, and I hate criticizing child actors in general. However, she's not convincing whatsoever, no matter what emotion she's trying to convey. She just needs more practice, maybe. Wayne Knight plays Mr. Berg.
Every one of you to be at that science fair on Saturday, whether you're entering or not.
Why is he so mean to Abby?
You're such a dick, Mr. Bird.
Who said that?
Like, he's fine in the role. I always love seeing Newman.
Hello, Newman.
Hello, Jerry.
But was the whole science fair scene necessary? There's no way Abby would have won trying to pass off Chica as her own work. How dumb are those judges? like the callback to Jurassic Park, though. That was a nice touch.
I'm so sorry, Abby. I got that Butterfingers.
Our lives are in your hands and you have Butterfingers?
Mechanic Grace is Lisa, a paranormal activity hunter.
Definitely not the Freddy's I remember.
You're thinking of the franchise location. This is the original.
I love how she's becoming part of some major horror franchises. It's exciting to see her budding film career in the making. It's too bad she doesn't have a bigger role, though. But she's great. Matthew Lillard kind of returns as William Afton.
Don't you know you're my favorite? Don't you know that I love you? Don't you know that I care about you?
And Skeet Ulrich is Henry Emily.
Everyone called it an accident, but it wasn't until years later when those 5 children went missing that I knew she was murdered by him.
Reuniting them after Scream is spirited casting. Speaking of Scream, having both of them in your movie and not having them share any scenes together is a horrendous missed opportunity. You know the fans want it, so why not give it to them?
Hey, it's called tact, you fuck rag.
Kellen Goff is the voice of Toy Freddy.
But first, I have to go pull the heads off some very bad people.
He's adequate in the role, but it's too bad he doesn't have a bigger part, considering he is one of the original voice actors from the games.
Oh. Maybe not.
Megan Fox is the voice of Toy Chica. For some reason.
What I want is to see what's going on inside of your head.
She's not a voice actor, and it shows. It sounds like she's reading the script without doing any retakes. Anybody could have voiced this role. I think she's miscast.
What matters is we're together again.
I missed you so much.
I've missed you too.
Matthew Patrick, aka Matt Pat, is the voice of Toy Bonnie.
Your mom doesn't care about you. She only thinks about herself. Parents are all the same, and I have to punish them for that.
It's too bad his voice is unrecognizable, because he has such a large fan base from his YouTube channel. People know what he sounds like. I'm glad he's in it, but I really do think they did him a disservice.
But, you know, it's just a theory.
Still, overall, this flick is a mechanical mess. Yes, it's more ambitious than its predecessor, with more jump scares. But it fails in storytelling and acting. My suspension of disbelief can only stretch so far before the ridiculousness destroys my experience. Charlotte's plot is basically the same as the Silent Hill movie. Why are all the parents jerks at the beginning? Why does the original Fazbear location still have water in the river after 20 years? You'd think it would have dried up by now. Why is the guy drowning in 3 feet of water? It reminds me of that scene from Robin Hood Men in Tights.
I'm drowning! Oh no, I'm drowning! Help me!
What's with the ghost Wi-Fi? I have so many questions. So little time. Perhaps if a more experienced director and screenwriter who understands horror were at the helm, a better film would have been produced. It also has this bizarre Disney Channel original movie feel, rather than feeling like a gateway horror movie. It just lacks genuine scares. And PG-13 movies can be scary. Just look at The Ring. Or the first 2 Conjuring movies. It takes itself too seriously to be campy, yet it's too silly to be taken seriously. The pacing is uneven, and it struggles to balance the scares with an overcomplicated plot, leaving it unable to stand on its own. There's weak dialogue, undeveloped characters, and a near total lack of tension. So really it feels like a downgrade from the first film if you think about it. Its reliance on franchise lore and excess subplots, trying to stuff in as many references as they can, risks alienating anybody not already invested in the franchise. So if the first two movies are your first experience with Five Nights at Freddy's, you might not know what's going on. You might be very confused. I know the franchise well enough. I could follow it. But still, think about the other people out there. Why not make it so it's accessible for everybody to get them interested in your games? And it's bad enough that part 1 had Freddy in somebody's nightmares. When the animatronics are on the loose, they even have the audacity to mention that Freddy is on Elm Street. I rolled my eyes. Like, really?
Your chances of survival for this Freddy are much better than the other one. You don't want to mess with him.
And for me, it's perplexing how both the games and the movies, that Freddy isn't even the main character in the franchise, despite being named after him. We don't even get Freddy blinking in the darkness when the player runs out of power. That's not in this movie or the other one. How can you leave out one of the most iconic shots of the game? So, there's too much excess that has nothing to do with the games. I'm happy for you if you're a fan of the movies. It just wasn't for me. It's great that it can create new horror fans with this gateway level version of the genre. But the inconsistent mythology and the lack of atmosphere makes it feel like a jumble of mechanical parts with no clear vision. It's a dull, clumsy sequel that offers little beyond twitchy, blinking robots with minimal originality, humor, or fear. It's hard to recommend this unless you're already a committed FNAF fan. Watch Willy's Wonderland instead. That's a better FNAF movie. So, my official grade for Five Nights at Freddy's 2 is an extra small popcorn with a side of WD-40. And remember, this flick stumbles forward with the awkwardness of a malfunctioning animatronic.
Back, you robot! Nobody ruins my family vacation but me! And maybe the boy!
That's right. You saw that. The Simpsons did it first.
Five Nights at Freddy's, rated PG-13, only in theaters, December 5th.
No matter how you slice it, a pizza. My soul died watching this movie. At number 4. I know what you did last summer.
What does it say?
Wait. Please stop!
You survived this once. We need your help.
A group of friends inadvertently cause a deadly car accident, covering up their involvement and making a pact to keep it a secret rather than face the consequences. A year later, someone leaves notes saying they recall their heinous actions the previous sunny season, turning to true survivors of the legendary Southport Massacre of 1997 for help. Is this flick slicker than the others in the franchise?
It isn't something I like talking about.
written by Jennifer Caitlin Robinson and Sam Lansky. It's loosely based on the novel of the same name by Lois Duncan, except the original novel wasn't a slasher. The glaring mistakes from the movie become apparent early on. When parked on a winding cliffside road, a group of friends causes the car to swerve off the cliff. Some urge to call the police, but others swear them all to secrecy. The film never convincingly explains why covering up the accident seems preferable to calling the emergency services, especially when they don't even know whether or not the person actually died. It's not really confirmed.
Where?
Oh my god, we hit a boat!
Where's the foot? Oh no.
Do the writers even know what the meaning of manslaughter is?
This is manslaughter, okay? We're all gonna fry for this. We're looking at 10 to 15 years.
Shut up, Bobby. Alcohol. It's okay, I'm fine. No.
So, my biggest issue with Drop last year, which made my dishonorable mentions, is that it felt too much like a Scream knockoff. This is an even worse perpetrator. In fact, it's practically a shot-for-shot remake of the original. The 20-somethings get picked off one by one. Ava plays the grounded, traumatized final girl, equivalent to Julie. Danica is the wealthy, glamorous duplicate of Helen Shivers. Milo is the estranged ex-boyfriend mirroring Ray. Teddy steps into the role of a hot-headed protector, like Barry. While Scream subverts and mocks slasher cliches, this movie fully embraces them by relying heavily on predictable formula character archetypes, illogical survival decisions, and seemingly supernatural villain traits. Even when the movie is trying to be bold about the killer's reveal, if you think about it, it's just copying Scream 4. That's the whole idea of what if the funnel girl/boy was the killer concept. New characters are set up as red herrings that are killed off way too soon after. Inexplicably. What was the point of that? This makes it obvious who the killers are, especially when they're telegraphed so much. So, Chase Sui wonders is Ava.
The cops are not going to help us.
And we'll find someone who will.
She's good at being the straight man. Her reactions to other characters' dialogue or actions are pretty believable. Her conviction also shines through when she acts scared, and she has a great scream. A good scream is imperative for any good final girl.
Okay, what happened? I'm okay.
Madeline Klein is Danica.
I need to start drinking.
She's the most likable, funniest character in my opinion. Her exchange about being the hot widow made me laugh out loud.
Does it make me a widow? Obviously the hot part is implied.
Along with many other things. She takes the typical dumb blonde stereotype to extreme lengths. It was hard for me not to laugh. And I'm glad she survived.
What makes you so confident that this is from Teddy?
Are you an egg, Milo? Outside of us, no one knows what happened.
Jonah Hewer-King is Milo.
She wants you to choke her. So choke her. It's okay.
His forgettable performance doesn't leave a lasting impression.
What are you doing?
Tyreek Williams is Teddy.
Everyone chill out! We don't tell anybody what happened tonight.
We should go.
His impressive physique and comedic timing don't go to waste. He delivers many funny one-liners. I also give the script credit for a scene with him tackling the fisherman killer.
Fuck away from her!
It's one slasher cliche the flick actually avoids. The useless muscle man.
Yeah! Run away like a little bitch! I'll fuck you up!
Sarah Pigeon is Stevie.
Who are they? Friends from a past year. What happened? We grew apart.
She's the black sheep of the group from the beginning. Her dad ran off with her college fund, so she's poor, unlike her friends. She's great at being the wallflower, while also having insecurities. That contrast makes an interesting character. Her acting style exudes that.
Don't do anything stupid. Diva.
Gabrietta Brachel is Tyler. Sorry if I butchered that.
This place is so beautiful, it makes me want to die.
A podcaster whose only purposes are to provide exposition about the original movie and be one of those red herrings I mentioned before. Her bland performance makes her character unbearable. Why are all podcasters in movies so self-absorbed and obnoxious? From personal experience, the ones that I know aren't like that.
Look, I haven't really slept with a guy in years, but you seem pretty beta and I'm really into whatever's happening between you two. Just putting it out there.
Okay.
And of course, Jennifer Love Hewitt returns as Julie James. Otherwise, we wouldn't have a movie.
Whoever's doing this, it's personal. You can't run. You can't hide. Get them before they get you.
I'm glad she's active in the plot, but she doesn't do very much, similarly to Neve Campbell in Scream 5. She briefly mentioned how she was married and divorced to Ray, but then there's no details. There's no follow-up. I need details. At least with Dewey and Gale, we found out what happened to them through conversation. There's nothing like that here. There's no backstory whatsoever. The second most interesting thing that happens to her happens entirely off screen. She's great, but what a missed opportunity.
What are you waiting for?
And of course, Freddie Prinze Jr. returns as Ray Bronson.
This is gonna hurt, sweetheart.
Again, he's barely there, but it's good that he's back at least. He shows up here and there as a grizzled survivor, but he really needed a bigger part.
Now you need to handle this. It's not going to stop. Listen.
The biggest surprise for me was Sarah Michelle Gellar, returning as Helen Shivers.
Careful, sweetheart. I have the hook.
This was a very pleasant surprise, but the sequence doesn't really make sense if you think about it. Why would Danica dream about Helen and not Tyler when she was the one who was obsessed with her? She even had the shirt. And the de-aging looks great, but that follow-up CGI skull was inexcusably bad. Directed by Robinson, it was filmed in Sydney, Australia. Most of the sets are multi-million-dollar mansions or yachts, alienating your average blue-collar workers. The tone feels more like a CW show in between the killings. The film's staging frequently feels unnatural, drawing attention to the mechanics of the filmmaking rather than immersing the audience in the scene. Characters are often positioned in ways that appear designed for the camera instead of reflecting how people would naturally interact. Early in the movie, a friend group gathers around a kitchen island in a stiff, overly arranged manner that makes the moment feel manufactured. The suspense sequences suffer from similar issues. For example, in one scene, the killer remains hidden standing behind an openly displayed slicker. Like, really out in the open. A concealment so unconvincing that it stretches the believability, even if the target is drunk. It still doesn't make sense. How do you not see that? Moments like these make it seem as though the director is focused on placing actors where they need to be, rather than creating situations that genuinely feel suspenseful. The gore can make or break any slasher flick. This doesn't disappoint when it delivers. But there's only a couple of creative kills here. I love the Jaws reference on the dock, though. They certainly earn their R rating. Overall, this flick isn't slicker. It's a slacker!
Oh, what the fuck happened to this world?
I love slasher flicks. It's my favorite subgenre of horror. However, the lackadaisical writing is the real killer here. Admittedly, I have a soft spot for the original I Know What You Did Last Summer because it was a gateway horror movie for me. It came out like a year after the original Scream did, so
At the time, it was one of the first slashers after Scream that I was brave enough to watch all the way through. And the original is one of my annual Halloween watches. I don't like the two sequels, though, and I've never seen the TV show. For me, I found it hilarious how the Legacy sequel only acknowledges the first couple entries in the franchise, ignoring I'll always know what you did last summer. I also recognize how Part 1 is by no means a horror classic. I always thought of it as more of a wannabe Scream. It's frustrating because the movie contradicts itself. They state that, quote, nostalgia is overrated, end quote.
Isn't that nostalgic?
Nostalgia's overrated.
Yet, it relies heavily on nostalgia. This movie wouldn't exist if it couldn't cash in on the 90s slasher's comeback after Scream came out. WTF?
Do not attempt to grow a brain.
There's a reason why the fisherman donning the black slicker with a hook was never fully cemented into the horror zeitgeist like Ghostface. That's because the character is ultimately a pale imitation of other iconic mass movie slasher villains. Even the way the fisherman's masked, stalking and taunting, it's a formula that feels too much like a recycled version of Ghostface. Also, Ghostface transcends traditional silent slashers because of his snarky phone calls.
That's not funny.
This isn't a comedy. It's a horror film. People live, people die, and you better start running.
Not that silent slashers can't work. It's just not as impactful here. Mainly because of the writing. It doesn't help that Kevin Williamson wrote the original Scream and the I Know What You Did That Summer screenplays. So you can feel the Williamson-ness, if that makes sense.
This movie's kind of like Scream. If you remove the RE.
I also think that if Scream didn't make its comeback, then this movie wouldn't exist. And I can see how Robinson and Lansky clearly show affection for the franchise. They ultimately fail to inject fresh energy into what remains a creatively exhaustive mess of cliches. It's nice to see the original cast return. The new characters are likable. And the gore doesn't disappoint. However, the plot is so nonsensical. It's baffling how this got made. The killer's motivations make no sense. The ending completely ruined the film for me. It's not like they're tampering with what many consider to be a horror classic, like the travesty that was Exorcist Believer.
God played a trick on you.
And it's not like they ruined the fisherman character like they did with Freddy in the Nightmare on Elm Street remake.
Why are you screaming?
So I wasn't outright offended, and it didn't really piss me off per se. It was just disappointing. They had a chance to make something great. To make a good I Know What You Did Last Summer movie. And this is what we got. It's just sort of sad. But at least they're not completely exhausting the franchise, like with Hellraiser. Every couple of years they're pumping out a new one. And they're all crap. However, did I Know What You Did Last Summer really need a Legacy sequel?
When I find you.
Pop quiz, hotshot.
So, my official grade for I Know What You Did Last Summer is small popcorn.
Boink! Bad baby, bad baby.
And remember, I'm not letting them off the hook.
Whoever's doing this, it's personal. You can't run. You can't hide. Get them before they get you.
I know what you did last summer.
Well. If you live in a seaside town, do not give in to peer Pressure. Ho ho ho. At number 3. The Wolfman.
We were attacked. I think my husband was infected.
A family at a remote farmhouse is attacked by an unseen animal. But as the night stretches on, the father begins to transform into something unrecognizable. You know what they say. Even a man who is pure of heart and says his prayers by night may become a wolf when the wolfbane blooms and the autumn moon is bright. So, I just want to start off by saying that I'm not going to go too deep into this because I did review this movie last year. It's available on my channel if you're interested. I love The Wolfman. I've been a lifelong Wolfman fan ever since I saw the original Universal Monster movie. And werewolves are my favorite monsters. Unfortunately, good werewolf movies are hard to come by. And even though I have issues with it, I do like the remake with Benicio del Toro and Anthony Hopkins. I'd rather watch that movie than this. And here's why. This was also one of my most anticipated horror movies of the year, alongside with 28 Years Later. That's how much I was looking forward to seeing this. Which makes it even more disappointing.
You want a strike? I'll give you a strike! Here's your damn strike!
It was directed by Lee Winnell, who's a good writer and director in his own right. I mean, he's the guy that wrote Saw, and Insidious, and Upgrade, and he directed a few of the Insidious movies and Upgrade. He also did The Invisible Man. So I had high hopes for this, and then I watched the movie. I do like how the movie is full of fun camera work. At certain times, the camera tilts. Like when somebody hunches over, for example. And I love how atmospheric it is. It does have some really good jump scares. One involves a dog door that, I don't know, somehow I didn't see that coming, but they got me. I'll give them that. But at the same time, it's not over-reliant on jump scares, which is a good thing. I also love the lighting. At times, the light dims down on certain characters to really emphasize that person in the situation. The light shifts to convey change and character perspectives, and it's all accomplished practically, on set. They did so manually by adjusting the lights. Again, I'll give them that. That's pretty impressive. It does make you question what's going on in their environment. I also appreciate the sound design. It really does a good job of making you listen to what's going on around you. It makes you pay attention to your surroundings. It also does a good job of showing heightened senses and how it amplifies the sound for when the Wolfman is transitioning. Okay, so I gotta talk about the Wolfman. I really didn't like the werewolf makeup. It was so disappointing. Because the whole time you're waiting for him to fully transition, but the transition never really fully happens. You know what I mean? I mean, look at this werewolf. That's not a werewolf. See what I mean? It wasn't wolfy enough to me. I get what they're going for. It's sort of the old school look of the original Wolfman. But even that looks more like a werewolf. I mean, look at this. There's no comparison. And look at Benicio del Toro. That looks great. What the hell is this?
Well, how about that? They made a Wolfman movie without a wolf. I never thought I'd see that.
and it was written by Lee Winnell and Corbett Tuck. It's well documented that he and his wife started writing the first draft of the script during the pandemic.
Themes of isolation and dread and anxiety were naturally coming out in the script.
So it ties into themes of isolation and getting cabin fever because you're going stir crazy.
I got the madness. I got cabin fever. I've got it too.
Setting the story primarily in one location to make the drama more intimate. It also draws on themes of parenting and marriage. It really hits the nose on this allegory that the scars from your parents make you who you are.
Sometimes when you're a daddy, you're so scared of your kids getting scars that you become the thing that scars.
Generational trauma.
Mommy, why does Daddy have to get sick?
Daddy's father. I think he just got sick. Yeah. I think he may have given his sickness to Daddy.
And does it ever hit you over the head with that? Repeatedly.
You want me to put the hammer down?
And it also touches on the inevitability of illness and death. The werewolf is also meant to represent neurodegenerative illnesses like ALS, which killed a close friend of Winnell's. So he at least tries to make the story personal.
I had one friend in particular who was suffering from an illness that was like a degenerative illness. All my emotions around that I was putting into the script, and there's no getting around the sadness.
So here's why I can't help but feel disappointed. I went in completely blind. However, this movie isn't at all what I thought it would be. It's a much smaller, self-contained story. It doesn't even have the same characters as the original. These are all new people. It doesn't even tell the same story as the original. It's a completely different story. How is this a Wolfman? This isn't a remake. It's not even a reboot or a requel. It's more like a reimagining of a similar situation, but with different characters in a different place. How did this get made? Why did this get made? Who read that script and said, yeah, this is it. This is the idea we're going to go with.
I've got cabin fever. I think I lost my grip. I like to get my hands on whoever wrote this script.
In the new version, the main character Blake already has a family. He goes home to bury his father, who recently passed away. And it all takes place in Oregon. First of all, there is no story here. Let's face it. Leave comments below if you can tell me what the story is of this movie, because I didn't get one. Bringing his family back home with him is dumb, considering he knew what he was walking into. Because the beginning of the movie shows him as a boy. And that whole situation. And I'm sorry, but the car battery scene is ridiculous. I don't know about you, but I don't drive. I don't have my driver's license. I wouldn't know the first thing about cars, or how to even start one. And she just knows how to do it instinctively. WTF? Little things like that bother me. In the original Wolfman from 1941, Larry Talbot returns to his ancestral home of Wales to bury his recently deceased brother and reconcile with his estranged father. Larry falls in love with a local girl named Gwen, who he runs into at this antique shop. According to the documentary on the recent Wolfman DVD collection, the script for the Wolfman was influenced by Kurt Sodermark's experiences in Nazi Germany. Now, Sodermark. Sorry if I butchered that. But yeah, anyways. He was living a normal life in Germany, only to have it thrown into chaos. And he was on the run from the Nazis when they took control. Just as Larry Talbot finds his life thrown into chaos. And he's on the run once he's turned into a werewolf. Christopher Abbott plays Blake, / the Wolfman.
really gonna die?
No, it's my job to protect you.
He's fine. But his performance is so low energy. That's how it comes across, at least. No, don't get me wrong. He does have some good dramatic moments in his own right. However, he has no chemistry with the other actors. Therefore, their scenes feel more manufactured than anything. Nothing feels legitimate. Everything feels forced. Not natural.
And try to be happy as a family while we are here.
I want to be happy too, but
There's no emotional connection between them.
But surely, you don't believe in...
Julia Garner plays Charlotte, Blake's wife.
Blake, is that you? You're scaring me.
Again, she's a fantastic actress, and she's awesome in weapons, but that's another video. Here, her talent is wasted because there's not much to work with as far as dialogue goes. The exchanges feel one-sided because she has more conviction than her counterpart.
Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
The way her character is written, she's pretty one-dimensional too, so we don't know a whole lot about her. We never really get to know her. That's not so much her problem as in the writing. But that's just kind of what I mean by she doesn't have much to work with.
Are you happy, Charlotte?
yeah. Yeah. Are you? Why are you asking me that?
Matilda Firth is Ginger, their daughter.
Dad, can you hear me? Dad, are you okay?
I'm sorry, but I hate this character. She's so bratty. They set her up to be sweet and innocent, but as the movie goes on, she becomes more and more obnoxious.
You left him! You left Daddy outside! He's gonna get hurt! He's gonna die in his neck! You left Daddy outside! No, he was trying to protect you!
Eventually, it gets to the point where she's not even a character. She just becomes a prop. What was even the point of having a child character? It could have just been the couple having marital problems, and that could have been the movie. She doesn't really add anything to the film. And I use that term loosely. I struggle to call this a film.
Can you hear me in there? Huh? Most fun I've had without lubricant.
So, overall, it doesn't do a good job world building or setting up the characters. The acting is fine for the most part. It takes about 30 minutes to get to the actual werewolf plot, so it just feels like it's meandering up until that point. And then it meanders even more after that. The whole movie is about a family in this house being attacked by a werewolf. It's just not a very engaging setup. It's so boring. By the end, I didn't really feel anything for the characters. They don't really have any agency the whole time. They're just scared. Then they react to what's happening. Then they do it again, and then they do it again, etc., etc. You get the point.
Etc., etc., etc.
I don't really know anything about them, aside from what's set up in the beginning with the marital problems and the shaky relationship with the daughter. For some reason she hates the mom, and it never explains why. She prefers the dad. What gives? And there's not really any character development. They don't grow to become better people. They're the same by the end. However, on a more positive note, I love the references to Saw. It's a hilarious moment. It's so natural how it happens, too. It's the one thing about the movie that doesn't feel forced. The metaphors are way too on the snout, though. So, if I had to compare it to anything, I wouldn't compare it to the original Wolfman, because there is no comparison. But it is sort of similar to Howl, Bad Moon, and Wolf. But those are far superior, trust me. Watch those instead. So, my official grade for the Wolfman is extra small popcorn. Now, side note, I've never done this before. Originally, I gave it a medium.
So, my official grade for The Wolfman is a medium popcorn. It's in the middle. It's not great, but it's not terrible. It's got its moments.
But upon rewatch, it got worse. So, I'm dropping it down. It's my channel and I can do what I want. What'd you think of The Wolfman? Leave comments below and we can talk about it. Is my downgrade justified? You tell me. And remember, the metaphor is so on the snout, it's more like self-aware wolf. Am I right?
Please, Daddy, it's me. Hurry, Mommy, he's coming.
Hey, I may be a cat. However, wolf, man. Meow, 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 meow.
And my number 2 pick? War of the Worlds.
Terrifying machines rising out of these meteors.
Get away from that!
This plan is humanity's last chance. I see no other option to initiate this war of the worlds.
An invasion of immense proportions on Earth is imminent, involving modern technology, government surveillance, and privacy conspiracies. Is this episode remake a prime opportunity for bad decisions? Written by Kenneth A. Goyd and Mark Hyman. It's based on, and I'm using that term loosely, the sci-fi horror literary classic 1898 novel of the same name by H.G. Wells. I say I use that term loosely because there's bad writing and then there's fundamentally insulting the intelligence of the audience. Like, yeah, sure, they use basic concepts from the book, but the script here is severely underwritten. The characters state obvious facts to each other just to inform the audience of what's going on. Rather than using visual storytelling, the dialogue primarily consists of characters talking about events or internal emotions. The clunky conversations and unnatural exposition delivery make the narrative almost incomprehensible.
And run, boy! Make a run now! At the floor! Holy shit! Hey! I'm okay. Go!
The lack of understanding of the original source material often interrupts the pacing. It raises many questions, and it's paced too quickly to acknowledge them, let alone provide answers. There's a plot about the Martians eating data because reasons. Why or how doesn't matter because the writers didn't bother to explain it. Confused? Me too.
These little guys are drawn to data.
Need data.
Exactly. That's why those servers were being emptied.
That is just a big diversion to get those tripods to the data centers. And those tripods are just Trojan horses to get those little bugs into the servers. To get to the data.
Directed by Rich Lee, the Screen Life movie has been sitting on the shelf for 5 years after it was shot during the pandemic. It wasn't until later when Amazon bought it for distribution. Now, don't get me wrong. I do think that having a new version of this story in the Screen Life format is a great way to adapt it to modern times. It's entirely shot on people's cell phones and laptops. Poorly, mind you.
So you concur?
How the idea is executed is another story. The CGI is terrible. The iconic Martian tripods deserve better. I'm not even sure if they're referred to as Martians in this movie. Why wouldn't they just say it? You'd think by saving money on how it's filmed, that would give more room for the budget as far as special effects are concerned. But no. The movie is mainly told from Ice Cube's computer monitor, via watching what he's typing in, while adding Zoom chats and YouTube clips for dynamicism. Since it was filmed when it was during the pandemic, the sets are noticeably vacant. Eerily so. For example, Ice Cube is seemingly the only employee at his job. Not once does someone hand him any paperwork or visit his office for any reason. Also, the actors rarely share the screen in the same physical space. Sometimes, when people are running, the camera shakes so much it's nauseating. Because it was filmed on somebody's phone, and what's with the editing? It's so frantic and so unfocused, it feels like watching somebody just constantly changing channels. Or like the kind of person that'll watch 2 or 3 shows at the same times and they flip back and forth during the commercial breaks. You know what I'm talking about. We've all met those people. You've met somebody like that, right?
This is exactly what makes bad television, pandering to the lowest common denominator. So what do I do, Brian? Well, you still have these boxes. That means you still have the power to influence television.
That's not even the worst part. The worst part is the blatant Amazon product placement. It's more egregious than Madam Web was with Pepsi. At one point, a character says Amazon Prime Air is quote-unquote the future of delivery.
Prime Air!
Prime Air?
Oh, it's the future of delivery.
See? Told ya. And Ice Cube actually needs to order a flash drive on the website. Then it shows him placing the order. Later on, the main characters also bribe a hobo with a $1,000 Amazon gift card.
Wait, give him an Amazon gift card for $1,000. Hurry! Come on!
Never mind, all the power grids are out and there's no internet. No matter. Amazon Prime, to the rescue! Ice Cube plays Will Radford.
Touchdown! 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 Kiss my ass, Briggs.
He brings overbearing to a whole nother level. The bad dad. He's like spying on his pregnant daughter, giving a crap for like what she eats, checking into her refrigerator.
You haven't had any protein this week.
How do you know?
Let's just say me and your fridge is pretty tight.
You hacked my fridge?
It's creepy. Shouldn't you be like, I don't know, doing your job?
What's so funny?
But anyways, writing put aside, his performance often feels like he's just reading his lines for the first time.
These locations are our global response headquarters, and they're taking them out one. Based on their prioritized destruction of these critical intelligence command centers, my analysis...
Especially when he does it in this unconvincing, low-energy tone. And by all means, I don't think Ice Cube is a bad actor at all. He's great in other things. So his performance here is inexcusable. The role itself doesn't help. His character lacks a clear motivation, and mostly drifts through events rather than actively driving them. While many others also feel like they're acting only to serve the plot instead of behaving naturally.
Man, I can't believe I just did that. Something's wrong. Are you serious? Look at this. Hey, get out of there!
Eva Longoria plays Dr. Sandra Salas.
They're a hybrid organism, biological and cyber.
she comes across as disengaged in her conversations, to the point where a stronger commitment to the role might have benefited the character.
Exactly.
Clark Gregg's Department of Homeland Security director feels overly serious, as if he belongs in a different, more intense, better-made movie.
Wow, you did it. I can always spot talent.
NASA warned you if you activated Goliath, it could spark an invasion.
Thank you for your service, Radford. You're dismissed.
Stop this thing.
Emma Benson's faith delivers her lines with shifting, inconsistent tones that resembles PSA-style acting, which becomes distracting.
You think you have more power than you really do. You think you have the power to keep the world safe. You gotta wake up.
Henry Hunter Hall is Dave, who's similarly flat, lacking conviction as well.
I got a friend over at NSA. They recruiting next week.
Let it go. I mean, spying on what's in people's Amazon carts?
Devin Bostick plays Mark, the Amazon delivery driver.
Prime Air.
Right here.
Oh, it's the future of delivery. They've been training us for months.
He stands out as relatively more natural by comparison. He's not great, but he's better than the rest. He at least seems like he's happy to be there.
I'm a pro.
And Michael O'Neill's Secretary of Defense, Walter Crystal, is played with a detached, almost comedic casualness because he's golfing and smoking cigars, while the whole world around him is collapsing.
Whiskey and a cigar. I'm gonna consume all of this at the same time because I am a free American.
It makes his scenes feel like he's barely engaged with the crisis.
Can you tell yet what they're comprised of?
No, sir. I've never seen anything like this.
Overall, if this flick isn't a prime example of bad decisions, I don't know what is. The fact that it's streaming on Amazon and the company is presented as the savior of humanity is hysterical. And now, the producer is publicly outright denying that this was paid product placement. Is he telling the truth? I'm skeptical. You decide.
I don't smell anything.
I smell something. Bullshit.
But going back to the movie, and I use that term loosely, this isn't really a movie. Let's face it.
What's so funny?
War of the Worlds has always prided itself by aiming for horror with its planet-destroying alien invasion, with the stakes feeling higher than ever. The whole time we're pretty much helpless. But in this, the stakes never feel real, because every obstacle is quickly, albeit conveniently, resolved. Replacing the book's original ending with a computer virus solution just feels like a derivative rehash of Independence Day.
How did you do that?
I gave it a cold. I gave it a virus. Computer virus.
The acting is abysmal, with characters constantly stating their thoughts and emotions outright, leaving little to no room for subtext. Combined with the screenlight format, the poor CGI, the pandemic-era production constraints, and a paper-thin plot, the result is more frustrating than it is entertaining. This had potential. This could have been great. And this is what we got. And by the way, its attempts to touch on themes of the dangers of modern surveillance and digital paranoia is rich coming from a major corporation like Amazon. That's like YouTube saying they don't like ads. It's laughably hypocritical.
It's not funny, Ed.
This flick fails at the three foundational pillars of a captivating story: concept, character, and conflict. At least it has a beginning, a middle, and an end, I suppose. It's really odd, too, because the film isn't quite bad enough to be enjoyably ridiculous. Kind of like Sharknado or movies like that. yet it's never competent enough to be engaging. The only thing prime about this is how it's primed for jokes. So, my official grade for War of the Worlds is no popcorn.
You disappoint me.
And remember, they even tried to warn us in the trailers and the poster. The tagline is, "It's worse than you think."
Kiss my ass. I'm coming for you now.
Well. Just as I suspected. No signs of intelligent life. Ho ho ho. And now, my number one pick. The worst horror movie of 2025. The Strangers. Chapter 2.
Is Tamara here?
Who are they? Why are they doing this?
Does there have to be a why?
I must go on a seemingly endless chase because of the 3 deadly strangers. Do you care about the origin of Tamara? Do you even know who that is? Did this movie get too hammy? And don't worry, if you don't know that name, there's plenty of scatterbrain silliness to discuss here. So, like I said when they made this movie, screw it, let's ham it up. So, before I start, I just want to say, the first movie came out last year, in 2024, and I made my pick as number 1. And if you're interested, you can watch my worst horror movies of 2024, also available on my channel. So here we are again. So in a way, I guess this movie didn't disappoint, now did it? Talk about a paradox.
No, I don't think he likes you at all. No, I don't like you either.
It was directed by Rennie Harlan. Yes, the Rennie Harlan. So, for being a director of his caliber, this movie isn't even competently shot or put together. It starts in a hospital as a Halloween 2 ripoff, directly picking up after part 1. Fortunately, not much time is spent stalking through the sterile, employee-less corridors. Why does it always happen in horror movies? Where are the employees? Unfortunately, the rest of the movie is driven by dumb decisions for a plot with more holes in it than a colander. The sequel stretches a home invasion concept into an exhausting, directionless chase that misunderstands its own villains, leans heavily on the jump scares, and mistakes physical motion for plot momentum. Instead of deepening the terror, it strips away the mystery that made the strangers unsettling in the first place. I mean, this defeats the whole purpose of the title. The strangers. We don't know them. We're not supposed to know them. WTF?
Are you crazy? Or just plain stupid?
Stupid as stupid does, Mrs. Blue.
I guess.
The gore usually saves a slasher, but it's lacking in that area too. There's plenty of generic stabbings and slicings. No kill creativity whatsoever. Where's the carnage candy?
More blood, more gore.
carnage, candy. Your core audience just expects it. And
Upping the brutality could have elevated the movie. Yet another missed opportunity.
You blew it!
The editing defies spatial reasoning. The strangers are looking for Maya at a good distance. Yet, seemingly they appear out of nowhere for a jump scare. For example, despite having nobody around, and suddenly, the strangers teleport. Frequently. How? And then, as if we weren't hamming it up already, the strangers have a pet boar. Done with laughably bad CGI, I might add. And that gets an origin story too. Because why not? Gotta fill the runtime somehow, right? We don't even really get a proper introduction to the boar. The introduction starts off by inexplicable shots of the boar, but it's running from his perspective. So it just shows something running through the woods. It's like, okay, that was weird. What's that about? They feel out of place due to the boar not being shown beforehand. It just has these jarring, hard cuts to something running incredibly fast. Why did the movie just suddenly become a Jaws ripoff? The sound design is equally atrocious. The boar's footsteps and loud thuds against the car when it rams into it sound more like a rhino than a boar. At least the other times when he's fighting against Maya, it kind of sounds like a boar, I guess. I mean, look at this thing. It's ridiculous. That's not scary, that's funny, that's goofy.
I'm higher in the food chain! Get in my belly!
It was written, presumably in crayon, by Alan R. Cohen and Alan Freedhand. The writing choices are flabbergasting to say the least. For starters, having an origin story about the strangers completely defeats the purpose of what a stranger is. The unknown is inherently scary.
Does there have to be a why?
This flick should have been called Getting to Know You.
Getting to know you, getting to know all about you.
Secondly, the movie is practically one big chase scene with very little dialogue. Not a whole lot is going on the whole time. The film lacks escalating stakes or a clear objective beyond survival, which makes it feel directionless. That's why I said that before.
Why are they doing this?
And lastly, it's more reliant on jump scares than Hollywood is on horror remakes. It stars Madeline Petch, Gabriel Basso, Emma Horvath, and Ella Brocolieri. Sorry if I butchered that. They all lack the capability of the fundamentals of acting, like believability when it comes to physicality or vocal work to express themselves. They also lack the understanding of character motivations and active listening skills. When they deliver their dialogue, it feels like they're just going through the motions because the plot demands it, or lack thereof. And Petch, she's the final girl, and she really does try to give her all, but there's just so little to work with. And honestly, she never did leave a lasting impression with me in the first one. I never really cared about her survival all that much. It's just not that much a compelling character. She doesn't even really have a convincing frightened look, or a good blood-curdling scream. A necessity for any good final girl.
Totally.
It's also got Richard Brake. For some reason, he agreed to do this. Who knows why? But honestly, he probably just owed somebody a favor.
So, overall, you can't tell a story if there's no story to tell. This flick is a waste of time, money, and resources. Now, as bad as War of the Worlds is, I can at least get some enjoyment out of that because it's on the cusp of being so bad it's good. This is just plain bad. In terms of writing, directing, acting, editing, gore. Across the board, it's terrible. I really do think this movie shouldn't have even got made. And they made a third one. There's more to come. What are they doing? The lack of creativity is astounding. There's a thin line between paying homage and being a ripoff. Harlan deserves so much better. He's not a bad director by any means, because his experience from past work displays his unique style with the horror action genres. His vision didn't come together clearly here. Was it studio interference? Script problems? A rushed production? Perhaps all three. The script is one asinine occurrence after another, with no cohesion or structure. It's just so confusing. I don't understand. Leave comments below if you can make sense of it all, because I sure as hell can't. The acting is more lifeless than the real victims here. The audience. I have to reiterate, how and why did this get made? Where are they going with this? Who is this for? So, my official grade for The Strangers, Chapter 2, is no popcorn. So, those are a few of the reasons why it's number one. Why it tops everything else on the worst list.
You suck, you jackass!
And remember, the whole idea of this planned trilogy is just plain strange.
How strange was it? It was stranger than the strangers having a strangest trilogy. Meow.
So, this concludes my list of the worst horror movies of 2025.
It's my job to protect you.
Do you agree with my picks? Leave comments below and we can talk about it. And if you like what you see and you want to see more, please like and subscribe. And hit that little notification bell too, so you don't miss out.
Well, baby kitty. I do not know what is worse. The movie films or your puns. Hi, I'm just milking it. You must be wife talks and talk about it. I think not, baby kitty. You do not know the first thing about puns. Oh, will we? Please, enlighten me. It is easy. It is Zappy. Ho ho ho.
So, we joked around, we had a few laughs, and I poked some fun at these movies, but I really do encourage that you watch all these for yourself so you can judge them for yourself. That way you can form your own opinion. And who knows? You might love one of these movies, and then you can tell me how wrong I am in the comments below.
There's nothing more exhilarating than pointing out the shortcomings of others, is there?
Enjoy the challenge. Who knows? You might persuade me to change my mind. And what's your favorite horror movie of 2026 so far? On my channel, I've covered Sad Help, Backrooms, Obsession, Cold Storage, Primate, and more to come. And stay tuned for my best horror movies. There's so many coming attractions. Are you excited? I know I am.
It's been going on for years.
And another thing. What horror movies are you looking forward to coming out later this year? Leave comments below and we can talk about all of it.
I got news for you, pal. You ain't leading but two things right now. Jack and shit. And Jack left town.
And remember, the only thing worse than a bad horror movie is stubbing your toe. Then again, and maybe not, because it'd be a shorter, less painful experience. So, until next time.
I'll see you at the movies.
Have a great day. Did you know that I'm a film critic for HorrorBuzz.com? You can read my reviews on their website, and I make frequent appearances on their YouTube channel, HorrorBuzz Live. So I'll leave links below for that too.
I need to start drinking.